State Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez of San Diego authored the law. It's expected to affect more than 6.5 million workers in California. Joining me with who will benefit here and how local businesses are preparing are my guest, research and policy analyst Robert Nodoff with the Center on Policy Initiatives, and Lori Edwards-Tate, President and CEO of At Your Home Family Care. And Robert, this sick leave law goes into effect in just about a week, actually. So how will the sick leave be accrued?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on the show, Peggy. So the basic premise behind the bill here is that nobody should really be forced to make the impossible choice of having to take care of themselves or a sick loved one and go to work sick and lose a day's pay, right, as a result of that. And there, as you mentioned, 6.5 million Californians don't have access to a single day of sick leave. And what this allows is those 6.5 million Californians to actually accrue sick leave. As they work every 30 hours, they accrue 1 hour of sick leave.
So total all year long, how many do they get then?
It'd be capped out at 3 days max.
3 days per year. Okay, and a CPI report last year found nearly 500,000 or 500,000 workers in San Diego County didn't have access to sick pay. So who does this law actually apply to here, and who's exempt?
Absolutely. So great question. Here locally, again, as you mentioned, there's just under 500,000 folks in San Diego County who don't have access to a single day of earned sick leave. So again, they have to make that impossible choice that I was talking about a little bit earlier. In fact, within that are 44% of all private sector workers, 44% of men and women, 55% of all working Latinos, and we also have 82% of folks in the food services industry. So the folks who are actually touching our food, handling our food, and cooking it when we go out on a Friday night don't have access, as well as 3 out of 4 child care providers.
So part-time, per diem workers, but there are some employers that are exempt.
Yes, and the ones who are exempt are the IHSS workers, so the state home care providers, and the governor felt that it was for them to actually negotiate through the collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah, and where you run a private in-home care business, and one concern is that this law could be a burden for business owners like yourself. What kind of impact will this sick leave law have on your business?
Well, the sick leave law has tremendous impact. And it's a very timely question because we are in the process of implementing strategy to move this agenda forward. First of all, from a financial standpoint, the impact is approximately $30,000 a year starting July 1st. The difficulty is that we have per diem workers in the home, people who like their per diem status except for people who prefer shifts, who may be working for more than one company. The other difficulty is the fact that we have very frail populations of seniors, disabled veterans, and we are very similar to the state-funded IHSS program. So it was kind of disheartening that we, as an industry, which I am in home care, we also have home health, we have hospice, we have allied organizations throughout the state in the thousands, that we were not given a similar consideration given that we serve similar populations.
And how are you going to implement this law with your new employees? What are some ideas that you're doing to prepare for this?
I believe that what we're going to end up doing is doing a data-based type of implementation where the calculations are going to be significant. We are required by law to produce weekly reports for each of our employees, include them in their paychecks. We have to modify how we actually pay people and change the actual payroll stubs. We are also going to need to modify all job descriptions throughout the agency, all of our administrative detail. But my biggest concern, we do have real concerns for employees. We have concerns as businesses, but I think sometimes we lose sight of where certain laws, really belong or not belong.
Sure, sure. And I know you're talking about the patient care, and there's a lot of discussion that could be had on that at some point. I do want to ask Robert, though, about you're working with a group of people to increase sick time even beyond the 3 days a year. Tell us about that.
That's correct. So 3 days is a great start for folks, but again, just this past winter we had a really nasty flu virus that went around, and a lot of people were susceptible to it. I had coworkers who were out for upwards of 5 days, and the whole purpose for that is, again, 3 days is a very modest start, but there are cities, 20+ cities across the country, where the bar is really at 5 days, and we believe that San Diego, as America's finest city, should definitely at least be at 5 days of sick leave for folks, and allow people the opportunity to, again, stay home when they're ill, because again, it's great for workers, but it's also great for businesses, and the fact that when you're not sick, when you're actually healthier, more productive at work, you don't spread it to other folks. And again, when you're working with people in the public, you don't risk getting them sick as well.
Okay, sadly we are out of time. There's a lot more about this on our website, kpbs.org. Robert Nodoff and Lori Edwards Tate, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.